we're trying to find not only great brands, but also great founders. The mindset of these founders looking for us is always about, hey, Kelvin and DailyCo team, I want to scale up my business, but there's these constraints, and with you, we can mitigate these challenges. But majority doesn't mean that you're like bully on the founders.
Why is it important to keep these founders even when you acquire like a majority ownership of this business? Welcome to Hard Truths by Vertex podcast. I'm your host Rahul, and today I'll be chatting with Kelvin Subowo, founder and CEO of DailyCo, on why he thinks acquisition is a smart strategy to scale an F&B industry in Southeast Asia. The Daily company is Indonesia's fastest growing multi-brand F&B operator, delivering high-quality, scalable, and innovative dining solutions for individuals, businesses, and institutions. And company's portfolio include famous brands such as Daily Box, Antarasa, Bread Life, Lumiere, and others. Vertex Ventures Southeast Asia and India led the Series A round in DailyCo in 2021 and backed them again in their Series B round, which was led by Northstar Group and Vertex Growth. Now let's talk to Kelvin. Kelvin, in one of your recent interviews, I heard you mention acquisition as a way to scale your business. And I quote you here, acquisition is our fastest lever for growth, especially when the brands have solid fundamentals, untapped potential, and the scale to plug into our supply chain. We're not interested in trendy businesses. We are focused on substance, margin structure, and synergy. Why do you say this?
Okay. So maybe we should go back to the core or the beginning why DailyCo. We're entering a startup ecosystem because we believe that the company that we built can make a disruptions, and by doing that, people often mistakes us by we are a restaurant business. So yes, at the beginning we started our journey by a single brand named Daily Box. Then we evolve into this. We call ourselves right now is the Daily Company, which obviously the name Daily, you want to focus on your daily lifestyle. We serve meal from your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and not only us as a company directly serve our customers, but also we empower what later on we will discuss more, I think, about how we built the ecosystem. So it's all about scalability, right?
Yeah.
And when the conventional restaurants, they grew up through, mostly property is the main important thing because location, and locations. And now by using our models, we are able to find the best of both worlds. Some brands need a good location, but some brands you just need reach it through online, omni-channel business. Then we already have all of this platform, right? Then as you know, building brand equity takes time.
Yeah.
So rather than build it one by one, and we already have this infrastructure, we already have this ecosystem. So we want to empower brand out there that need to utilize it and grow faster and together with us.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're not interested in trendy businesses.
Yeah.
What are trendy businesses?
I think most of the restaurants or lifestyle usually cater what the market trends currently. We have built this ecosystem. That means it's going to be for a long term, right? It's not going to be like for a 1 or 2 years. So we need to find something that can sustain also with our growth while we're growing this ecosystem. So if we're coming into some business or brands that only last for a year or 2 years, so can you imagine the cost of we're building this we're becoming inefficient.
Yeah.
So, and that's why our DNA is always about, we want to provide you what you need on your daily basis.
Yeah, most businesses don't last beyond a year, right? Generally.
Yeah, especially if you know some of restaurants, it's after 2 years, 3 years, they just went out of business because maybe the market has shifted, something like that. Because the trend is moving so fast, especially in nowadays world, right?
Yeah. So you're mostly focused on businesses that serve the needs on a daily basis.
Yeah.
to Indonesians?
Yes. So right now we separated our business into like B2C and we have also B2B.
Yeah.
So our B2C brand, Daily Box, this is rice box brand, serving you with daily comfort food. So it's not just like flashy menu and everything. We're just selling you fried chicken with sambal and rice. And we're also having a B2B business where we serve catering towards like employee. So we're operating canteen facility and also serving like meal box for corporate events and so on. With B2B, you have it a huge volumes. That means you have more economics of scales,
Yeah.
stable price, you have a stable cost, and you can get more margins with your B2C brands.
Yeah. So what would be the kind of companies that you're looking to acquire now? You talk about solid fundamentals, untapped potential, and the scale to plug into your supply chain.
Okay. People often separates like B2B and B2C is just like two different entities or companies, right? While we're seeing it is we're serving the same target market. We call our target market is the aspiring middle class. So on that range, obviously they are workers. So they're working in like companies or corporates, but they also have their needs with their families, friends, and so on, right? So now we're combining the best of both worlds where while you're at the office, we're serving you and the company pays for your meals. Then they know that we're supplying it. Downstairs, we have our bread shop, Bread Life. Then they become our B2C customers. That's what we call share of belly. So I always said we wanted to tap as much as shares of belly as we can. So when you're asking about what kind of company that we targeted, definitely right now our focus is still in the food business. A lot of people say F&B, food and beverage. In fact, that's like a two different world, right? A lot of beverage players want to play food. A lot of food players also thinking that they're serving a lot of food. Then why don't we add beverage? In fact, that's totally two different operation game. So what we want to focus is as long as we can serve, these brands can cater breakfast, lunch, dinner for our target market. It focus on also serving. And by having this brand, we can grab more share of belly of our customers. Then second one is about the unit economics. What we're looking for is a brand that already established and our customers already know the brand because we want to tap in and provide our customers with different varieties from those brands, right? And the other thing is about a strong team or a founder. So it's not necessarily all the brands that we have is 100% operated by us. In fact, now we're trying to become the, what you call it, we want to empower these founders and these brands to develop with our network or our ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah. So DailyCo started as Daily Box, which was an online restaurant serving daily
cloud kitchen.
Yeah, using a cloud kitchen infrastructure, and you've evolved to now operating both online and offline brands and restaurants. Plus, you have like a B2B side, which you mentioned. So, what are some of the lessons that you learned? And I'm very particularly interested in whether cloud kitchen works in Indonesia, and if it does, what are the challenges?
In general, I think cloud kitchen business is a wonderful business because it disrupts the conventional restaurant where, as I mentioned earlier, location is the very vital points. It disrupts the idea of how you can scalable a business with a very fast time. Usually restaurant owners, they have to commit it at least certain period for their lease at the locations. But now you minimize that risk by you're having more freedom to adjust your locations, spaces, and so on. So in general, I think I'm still a huge believer of the concept, but the problem right now is about, especially in Indonesia, as you know, logistics has always become very challenging. And also the spending, Indonesia is still in a growing like middle income of like the GDP per capita, right? So cost of logistics is still a huge challenges for most of Indonesians. We're not talking about Jakarta, but most of the like outside of Jakarta, it's still a big challenges. So what we learn is it will work eventually, but it takes time for people to increase their income and realize the practicality of it. There's some research that I read, right? A more advanced or higher income countries usually spending more than 30 to 40% of their income to food services. So I think Indonesia is going to be headed towards that way. And that's also one of the reasons, even though now we have evolved into more complex business operations, we still have that pillars of cloud kitchens and on our business, because now it's still growing, even though it's not growing as fast as before, but we're approaching more conservatively when we're trying to open more of Daily Boxes locations. And we're also adding more brands toward our cloud kitchen business. So right now we have around 3 brands. Daily Box, we have, we call it Geprek PSB, and another one is a Japanese like sushi takeaway named Shirato.
Okay. So you have 3 cloud kitchen brands, but then with the challenges faced by cloud kitchen model, you have moved on to also acquiring offline restaurant kind of chains, right?
So 2 things why we're doing it, because number 1, we need definitely more margins.
Yeah.
And number 2, as I mentioned, we already have the scale of the supply chain and so on. So in 2021, at the peak of the cloud kitchen business, Daily Box, only one brand, operated 300 locations nationally.
Okay.
So we already built that supply chain of logistics and productions and so on, right? Then suddenly it downsized when the era of cloud kitchens, as you know, a lot of cloud kitchens enabler closed down their operations, closed down their properties, right? So we shrink just instant like that. But we already have the infrastructure, all of this on our back end. So the decision is whether you cut that or you need to find a replacement of the business that's gone, right? And as we know, at the end of the day, it's about food. Number 1 is always about consistency. A lot of people saying about taste, but I always argue it's about consistency, because sometimes you eat, it's good, then the next day you eat, it's bad, then it won't be good. But as long as you can maintain consistency, then customers will feel safe or secure about purchasing on your brand. So
as bad as McDonald's is, it is consistent.
Something like that. And wherever you go, it creates a brand awareness, right? So that's when we decide, I think, okay, let's add more brands. Of course, it doesn't make sense when we add more online, because the unit economics doesn't add up. But when you're adding more like offline, the blended margins or unit economics, it make more sense. And to be honest, that's what makes us still survive and even thrive during the tough times.
Okay, so why is it that the offline restaurants have better margins?
Because of the commissions.
Okay.
So restaurant business, you have a fixed cost of rental, usually, or labor costs. It's more or less, it's fixed, right? So when you have more volumes, it compensated. You get more margins in the bottom line. But when food delivery, the problem is the commissions itself already 30% and variables. So the more revenue you get, the more cut that also will affect you. So we need to balance that.
Yeah. And you mentioned providing like a infrastructure support for founders that you want to acquire. So why is it important to keep these founders even when you acquire like a majority ownership of this business?
Okay, so when we're doing cloud kitchens, you don't interact with customers. It's the driver that interact with customer. You interact it like online. digital. But when you're saying about restaurant business, it needs soul. You're coming, you're feeling the ambience, you're feeling the staff welcoming you, greet you, how the menu looks like, it's the photos appetizing and how it's served. So I think when you're serving food restaurants, it needs soul. And it's always the founder soul that drives a great companies. So what we're trying to find is not only a great brands, but also great founders, because they're the one at the end of the day going to operate most of this business. And we're the one that supporting them and help them to scale. One of the success story is one of our Thai restaurant brand name, Hi George. So the founder of Hi George, his idea is whatever hype in Bangkok, he will bring it to Hi George. So you don't need to go to Bangkok to find what's hype in there. Just go to Hi George. Usually Thai restaurants in Jakarta is a family style. You order for share. Now he personalized everything. So the target market is very clear. It's the younger generations. It's Instagrammable, very bright restaurants. The ambience is like that. After opening one restaurant, and then he tried to open the second one, then he came to us and said that I want to open in malls, but it's hard for me to get locations because I'm a new brand, new player. The landlord doesn't know me and so on. Okay, this is Thai food. It's already like Japanese food. It's already part of Indonesian culture. And the founder is also a good founder. We've known him. So let's support him. And now he runs the business from 2 locations. I think this is almost a year later, then he already opened 7 now. And revenue has been quadrupled ever since. And the unit economics also improved significantly because he doesn't need to build the head office. He can reduce the head office costs because he doesn't need to build that. He just utilize what we already have.
Yeah. So there are other house of brands model, especially where other consumer products, where we've seen a lot of lawsuits from the founder whose brand got acquired by house of brands. Why would such a thing not happen in F&B?
I think number one, because definitely the deal structure is we need to take majority because we need to do the consolidations and we need to supervise and learn from our failure, what can be improved or not. That's why we must have a majority.
Yeah.
But maybe the case that I learned is this is the founder that always looking for us at the beginning to grow the business. So the idea is not an exit strategy for the founder or to get capital. Of course, you need capital to expand opening locations. Definitely you need capital. But the mindset of these founders looking for us is always about, hey, Kelvin and DailyCo team, I want to scale up my business, but there's these constraints and so on. And I think by joint forces with you, we can mitigate these challenges. So I think, Rahul, at the beginning, it's always about the first intention, why they come to us. And protecting our interests by having majority is also one of the advantage, but majority doesn't mean that you're like bully on the founders or saying. It's also maybe the approach of our teams, right? Most of us are coming from a founder's background, so it's not like I know this better than you. Conversations is more on we let the founders to do what's best, and we just certain rules of game that we agreed in the beginning, and as long as we keep those mutual respect, I think so far it's been quite some time we're doing this, and it's quite fruitful for our organizations.
So how did you get into the B2B business side? So far you're operating online brands and also then moving on to offline restaurants.
I can say it's also quite accidental because back in 2021, when we were fully online business, then we decided that I think we need to go kind of offline, right, to balance out the margins. Then we acquired Bread Life in 2022. And as you know, back in 2022, there's a war like Russia, Ukraine, and those things happen, right? And bakery, the most important ingredients is wheat, and
Ukraine is a bread basket.
And unfortunately, some of the ingredients also imported. Now we try to localize it, but still some main ingredients is imported. So at the time, because 2022 cloud kitchen started to declining, we saw that we must focus on developing Bread Life to compensate these margins, right? In foods, the biggest cost is always the COGS, the raw material. But you cannot change the raw material. That's a problem with foods. You only can manage the costs, which efficiency and so on. So with this raw material, I spoke to one of the distributor. I said, hey, can you secure me some slots, right? At that time, it's still the recovery from pandemic. If you remember 2022, there's a restricted like stores opening. Then the distributor said, you can't. You have to bring at least minimum 1 containers for that certain products. And I said, okay, how much do we use? We only use like 15 or 20% from that whole 1 container. Then it just instantly happened. I said to the distributor, okay, I'll take 1 container. Then I'll leave to my team to worry about it. I said to them, hey, now we have 1 container of this and that SKU. We need to think how to utilize it because otherwise we will not able to protect our supply and our costs, right? So that's when I'm trying to reach out some of friends that also have bakeries, just small bakery, maybe only 2-3 stores, and keep growing from there, and even try to send it to distributors outside of Java because we already have presence in Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and all of these islands. And it happened like maybe for 6 months. And after the war is getting better, they just feel that it's better I order from you directly, Kelvin. So I just order from DailyCo instead of this main distributor. And this main distributor is also thinking that it's better than just you take all the supplies and give me a forecast of your whole year. And along the year also our Bread Life shops also growing. So from 1 container, now we always secure like maybe 3 to 4 containers, now 5 containers. Then the main distributor thinks it's better deal with you. And even this is from New Zealand, a big company supply dairy products coming to us directly and said, hey, we just realized suddenly the spike turns out it's coming from your company. And what do you think if you become our distributor? So when we're coming into B2B and we already have this baking ingredient. Now we're trading baking ingredients. We're also supplying to them some syrup, some ingredients as well. And yeah, actually, it's a blessing in disguise where those kind of challenges turns out opening a new opportunity for us.
Yeah. So what does your B2B business look like today? So earlier you mentioned about providing catering to large institutions, and this
we have food facility management, where some cafeteria or like food court that we manage, and the second part is trading of some raw materials, and the other part is corporate, like your corporate event caterings for box meals, and even Vertex, whenever they have events in last time I think in Bali. Also, we are the one who prep the food for them.
Yeah. So the business now has both B2C and B2B. What do you think is going to be the bulk of the business or the majority of the business?
B2B business. Because what we're seeing now is the global economy. There's a lot of volatility, uncertainty. And in Indonesia right now also, consumer spending drop. So we need to secure our revenue because we already built these infrastructures, right? By having B2B, we have stabilized our revenue stream because B2B most of the time, like painful at the beginning, but once you locked it, it's for you for the next 3 years. And so with B2B, we secure the revenue, we secure the volume, bargaining powers also towards suppliers, efficiency on our central kitchen, supply chain logistic, and so on. And with B2C, we get the margin. So our B2C brand will grow organically, including our restaurant platform, like the one that I mentioned, one of the brands is Hi George. But we're not going to push it like certain targets to open locations, not like that. Now we're securing the volumes. Right now, we are producing almost 100,000 meals and bread per day. So it's around 3 million meals a month. That's more than 1% of total populations of Indonesia, right? Going forward, I think, especially in 2025, we're going to focus more on our B2B products. And specifically, we focus on the rice chicken business and the flour business, which is we already have bakery cakes and most of caterings. We also aiming for minings. We're opening catering for their on-site facility because in minings, Indonesia is a natural resources country, right? A lot of mining companies, hundreds of thousands of employees. But you have to set your facility near the mine. And we already supply nationally from Sumatra. Even we have outlets in Papua. So not stopping us opening a facility in one of those mines. Now we can separate it or divide it into likely 3 main pillars. The first pillars is what we can classify more like our own brands, like confectionery, right? We have bakery, we have pastry, we have cakes in that category. Our own brand, we have Bread Life and so on in that pillar. And the other pillar is about the restaurant platform, where we own the majority, but founder still has significant shares on the company, and we help them to grow their business. And the other pillar is the B2B and also manufacturing central kitchen, basically.
Yeah. So the second restaurant platform, right? This is where you're looking for acquisition at the moment.
I think we're open for acquisitions for all of it.
Okay.
If there's a good brand out there and there's no one to run it, definitely we're considering to take over it. Not like have a certain target or certain scale we need to acquire, as long as we see it fits, because we also grow our business organically, but whereas there's opportunity, we're definitely going to look at it.
And for own brands, you mentioned a focus on confectionery. Why is that?
Because it's just a better margin especially in bakery business, in cake business. And when you're talking about like rice, right? Mostly Indonesian playing with rice and chicken, there's like a benchmark or limited price point that you can sell. Even though now the health awareness, people more aware about it, right? They reduce sugar and so on. But I think most of Indonesian people still a sweet tooth and they're still looking into it. Bread Life is still become one of our winning brands in terms of growing massively. Right now we have 100 plus stores. So I think we're still able to grow even triple, even quadruple it in the next couple of years. And we're focusing on like MRT stations, bus stations, offices. So I think we still can scale it very, very fast using bread life.
What do you see DailyCo's future, like let's say 5 years down the line? Is it more like the Yum kind of
I think it's
brand of...
maybe one of the most recently people talk about is like Jollibee. They aggressively acquired in Singapore, like Tiong Bahru,
Okay.
and it's also acquired Tim Ho Wan, right? So maybe Yum.
Yeah.
Yes, they have also lines of brands, but I think they not that aggressively like many acquisitions right now, right? But they have a really good, solid brands. Our missions is, we call the Daily Company, the main missions is to feed the nation with affordable products and with better quality. So better nutritious foods, value for money. So the goal is always about how we improve the volume. Right now we are serving like 100K a day.
Yeah.
How we scale it up into 1 million meals a day. So that's always been the goal for our company.
Okay. And how is Indonesia different to, let's say, other markets like maybe China or India or the developed Western markets?
I think the main big differentiator is the logistic. Then the GDP per capita. We're still low compared to other Southeast Asian market, even though Indonesia has almost 280 million people and the fourth most populous country in the world. But in terms of spending, it's still far from other countries, right? Logistics also play a huge importance. It's an archipelago, so it's very costly. In China, also in US, you can just, it's via land, but you cannot do it in Indonesia. And also the behavior of the consumer. So if you notice, there's no single brand that can open thousands of stores in Indonesia. This is 280 million, but not a single brand that can open, like in the US, they can open 5,000 stores, 4,000 stores,
China
even 10,000 stores, even in China as well, but not in Indonesia. One of the things is because maybe the preferences of Indonesian people is so diverse. Even we're talking in Jakarta, it is just like very close, or some see it as part of West Java. It's totally different preferences of taste. Then very near to Central Java, it's already different again. So what we're seeing also why we must grow as a multi-brand or house of brand concept, because we cannot have one single brand for Indonesian people, because even every cities, every provinces has a different preference of taste.
Yeah. Okay. So then my last question is, like, how then can you succeed in Indonesia? Is it by having these diverse set of brands?
Yes. The approach is, we have this restaurants named Antarasa, and maybe it's inspired also. We have also a YouTube channel named Kisarasa, Kisarasa. So it's telling about the culinary in a certain region or unheard cuisine. Because back in 2021, when we opened our first outlets in Kalimantan, we're so successful there. It makes me curious that what item that sells so well in there. We have partnership with this like celebrity master chef named Chef Juna. He made that cuisine named Ayam Woku. It's a chicken base. It's Woku, right? So I went to Kalimantan. I hop onto one of this driver, meeting one of the customers, and I'm very surprised when she said that, wow, this Japanese food is very good. I said, what do you mean Japanese? Yeah, this is the woku. It's so good. I said, it's Indonesian food. So there are part of Indonesia that don't even know that's in Indonesian cuisine. So That's inspired us to make the show of Kisah Rasa, telling people, I'm familiar with Bali. It's just like my first to go destinations, but there are a lot of Indonesians that never been to Bali. They don't even know Balinese cuisines. So when we open Antarasa, we're trying to assemble. We're bringing some dishes from Sumatra. We're bringing some dishes from Sulawesi. And we also open Antarasa in Sumatra. We're selling foods from Sulawesi. We're opening Antarasa in Jakarta. We're selling food from Kalimantan. So it's like cross-selling between these cities or provinces, right? Because we already have the back end. We already have the central kitchen. Basically, you just need to produce, frozen it, cold chain distributions, and done. I think one of the things that going to help us in the future and mitigate these things is now AI also very powerful. We have millions of purchase of data, and we available throughout tens of cities. Most of the provinces in Indonesia, we are available there. So we need to use this data and consumer behavior to be able to introduce to their palate, to their taste, even some kind of food that they didn't know it is Indonesian food. So that's how we try to mitigate these challenges, because we know at certain area, they love sweet, savory, spicy. So, and we also know from a very far area, there are some kind of food that meet this characteristic. And we're trying to do it.
Yeah.
Despite we're using the same brand or different brand. Our focus is we serve our customers, because when they try it at first with us, then it will stuck with them, right? Wow, DailyCo introduced me this kind of food that to my surprise, this is Indonesian food as well.
And something that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been great, Kelvin. Thank you so much for taking the time to
Thank you so much, Raul, for having me.